Could Candace Owens land in jail for exposing what she says she knows about Charlie Kirk's assassination? Well, some have been concerned about her safety. She took a break just recently, publicly announced a 10-day break, and people have been very concerned that she was unalived because she's challenging the narrative around her friend's premature death.
There were many people, of course, who did not believe me because that just sounds crazy. But even those people, thanks to Emmanuel Macron's strongly worded letter, which he had his legal team put together and ask me not to publicize, are now starting to pay a little bit of attention.
He was supposed to be remembered for his voice, for his courage, for the spark that built a movement. Charlie Kirk was meant to grow old beside the woman who once called him her forever, but forever ended too soon. What followed wasn't grief, it was a mystery wrapped in silence. For months, the world mourned, and then it forgot. But not everyone could move on, because silence, when it lasts too long, begins to sound like guilt. And now that silence has finally been shattered by none other than Candace Owens. It started with a tremor in her voice, not anger, not accusation, but something colder, the weight of knowing too much. On her live broadcast, Candace sat straight, face pale, eyes sharp. She didn't read from a script. She didn't rehearse. She simply said, "It's time you know the truth about Charlie Kirk." For a second, the world froze. Cameras kept rolling, comments flooded in, and then she said the words that turned grief into suspicion. "Erika knew more than she ever told us." Those words hit harder than any headline. The audience gasped. Clips spread across every platform within hours. Erika Kirk, once praised as the picture of grace, now stood beneath a cloud of questions no one dared to ask before. The widow of a movement builder, the keeper of secrets. The woman who held the key to a story that was never supposed to see daylight. Candace Owens didn't stop there. She told her viewers that she had received something, a folder sent anonymously. Inside, emails, voice notes, and one video file titled Truth. She described it as evidence that Charlie's death wasn't an accident of fate, but the consequence of knowledge powerful enough to destroy reputations, networks, and alliances built on illusion. She didn't play the clip live. She said she couldn't, because if I do, she whispered, "They'll come for me next." Erika watched in silence. Sources say she sat alone, replaying the broadcast on loop, eyes hollow. Within hours, her team issued a statement, brief, defensive, trembling between denial and fear. It read, "Mrs. Kirk is grieving. Any speculation about her husband's passing is deeply hurtful and false. But hurtful doesn't mean untrue." And the internet smelled blood. Across forums, old clips resurfaced. Moments where Charlie appeared uneasy, distracted, cautious in interviews. Words that now sounded like warnings. He had said once, "If anything happens to me, remember it's never just bad luck." At the time, it seemed like a joke. Now it feels like a prophecy. Candace reminded viewers of that line during her show, pausing just long enough for the silence to sting. Whispers began to spread about a project Charlie had been working on. Something big, a document exposing the underbelly of influence within his own circles, a network of financial strings and hidden donors. Friends had said he was nervous the week before he died. His last post was oddly cryptic. Truth always finds a way. Within 48 hours, he was gone, a sudden collapse, an autopsy labeled natural causes. But nature rarely leaves this many questions behind. Candace's voice trembled as she spoke about what she'd seen. A series of voice recordings, all from the weeks leading up to Charlie's death. In one, he sounded tired, cornered. "I think they're watching," he said. "Even Erika tells me to stop digging." That single sentence ripped open the calm facade that had shielded her. Was she protecting him or protecting something else? The next recording was quieter, harder to hear, but the tone was unmistakable fear mixed with resignation. "If this ends badly," he murmured, "someone has to finish what I started." The screen cut back to Candace, who stared into the camera and said, "I guess that someone is me." Online, outrage turned to obsession. Threads dissected timelines. Viewers compared statements, analyzing every phrase Erika had ever said about her husband's passing. Her old interviews resurfaced, her eyes avoiding the camera when asked how he died, her vague answers about health issues, her insistence that she wanted privacy, but privacy can hide truth, and now every sentence she'd ever spoken was being re-examined through a harsher lens. Meanwhile, whispers grew louder around a hidden folder allegedly labeled Echo. Rumor had it Charlie had stored files there encrypted, protected, unreachable without a key only two people knew, himself and his wife. After his death, that folder vanished. Cloud data wiped, laptop unrecoverable, but one backup remained, found in a forgotten email chain forwarded to an old contact, and that contact, according to Candace, was the source. Her team verified fragments, transaction logs, private messages, and a chilling phrase repeated across several notes: contain before exposure. It wasn't clear what needed containing or who wrote it, but Candace claimed the initials matched names inside the same circle that once championed Charlie's rise. The day after her reveal, Erika was spotted leaving her home, surrounded by security, no words to the press. Her face pale, her eyes red. She looked less like a woman mourning and more like someone being hunted by ghosts of her own making. Commentators debated, was she complicit, or just another victim of a machine too big to fight? Candace returned the next day, doubling down. This isn't about revenge, she said. This is about truth, the kind of truth Charlie believed in, the kind he may have died for. Her tone hardened. Erika, if you're watching this, you know what's on that drive. You know what he found, and you know why they wanted him silent. That was when the story stopped being gossip and became a reckoning. News outlets picked it up. Analysts called it a storm waiting to explode. Supporters of Charlie demanded answers. Hashtags trended: #justice for Charlie, #where is the drive, #truth for Kirk. And somewhere in that chaos, Erika's silence began to speak louder than any denial. Because sometimes the truth doesn't need to be shouted. It just needs to be uncovered, and when it is, it spreads like fire through a forest of lies. Candace Owens lit that fire, and this was only the beginning. The next morning, the world woke up to chaos. News anchors stumbled over their lines, headlines clashed, and Erika Kirk's name dominated every screen. The woman who once stood beside Charlie at rallies and galas was now at the center of a story darker than anyone imagined. And the spark that ignited it all came from a single line in Candace Owens' second broadcast. The drive exists, and I've seen it. The drive, 2 words that sent tremors across every digital platform. For months, whispers surrounded Charlie's mysterious project, the one he never got to finish. Now it had a name, the same encrypted USB that Charlie reportedly mentioned in his final message to a friend. According to Candace, it contained recordings, files, and personal logs, the kind that could destroy reputations and unravel entire networks if made public. In her second broadcast, Candace didn't hold back. She played an audio clip from the drive. The voice was unmistakable Charlie Kirk, weary but determined. They told me to stop. They said I was getting too close, but I can't. People need to know what's real, even if it costs me everything. The clip was less than 30 seconds long, but it changed everything. Within hours, Erika's publicist released another statement, this one longer, more desperate, claiming that Candace was exploiting a widow's pain for views. But the damage was already done. The words, "if it costs me everything," echoed across the internet like a prophecy fulfilled. Investigators started revisiting the timeline: Charlie's sudden illness, the rushed funeral, the missing phone. Friends recalled seeing him agitated in his final week, pacing his hotel room, muttering about betrayal. One even claimed Charlie had argued with Erika over a file he refused to delete. No one thought much of it then. Now it sounded like the moment everything began to unravel. Candace revealed that before his death, Charlie had contacted a digital forensics expert, a quiet man named Thomas Reed. He specialized in data recovery for high-profile clients. According to a leaked message, Charlie sent him a corrupted external drive just 2 days before his death, with the note, "Keep this safe. If something happens to me, Candace knows what to do." Reed never got to finish decrypting it. The day after he began, his home office was broken into, hard drives gone, computers wiped. He left town within 24 hours and hasn't been seen since. By the end of that week, Candace's team released another fragment, a photo of an email marked urgent, internal only, sent to Erika's private address. The subject line, containment strategy, CK exposure. The email discussed damage control, influence networks, and a chilling line that froze viewers. The narrative must remain consistent, natural causes. Candace paused during her reading, her voice steady but heavy. "You don't write narrative about a husband's death," she said quietly. "You write that when you're managing a story." The internet exploded. Old allies turned distant. Influencers who once praised Erika deleted posts. Her silence, once dignified, now looked deliberate. Photos of her attending events just weeks after Charlie's funeral resurfaced, captioned with accusations of indifference. And behind every post, one question echoed: what was she hiding? Meanwhile, a shadow war was unfolding behind the scenes. Candace began receiving anonymous warnings, texts from blocked numbers, emails urging her to stop. One message read simply, "You're walking the same road he did." But she didn't stop. Instead, she went live again, this time with something new, a transcript from what she called the final file. She read it slowly, her tone low and deliberate. It was a personal letter from Charlie to an unnamed recipient, time-stamped 2 days before his death. "I don't know who to trust anymore," it read. "Even the people closest to me are telling me to let it go, but I can't. If this reaches Candace, tell her the proof is in the Echo folder. She'll understand." The Echo folder, the same one rumored to be erased. Candace claimed she now had partial access, not full, just fragments, enough to prove one thing: someone had tried to delete it from multiple servers the night Charlie died. A coordinated digital purge from 3 separate locations. Whoever did it wasn't working alone. As the investigation deepened, more cracks appeared. A former associate came forward anonymously, stating that Charlie was preparing to publish a report linking certain political donors and organizations to covert media influence operations. He allegedly told the associate, "If I don't make it, they'll turn it into a tragedy, not a crime." Those words, once dismissed as paranoia, now sounded like a chilling premonition. Then came the leak that broke the internet, a screenshot from the drive showing a private chat between Erika and an unidentified contact. The message, dated 1 week before Charlie's death, read, "He's going to expose everything. If we don't act soon, it's over." The context was missing, the contact unnamed, but the implication was devastating. Erika's spokesperson immediately called it fake, but digital analysts confirmed the metadata matched her verified account. Candace didn't celebrate the revelation. She looked exhausted on camera, her voice almost breaking as she said, "I didn't want this to be true. I wanted to believe she was innocent, but now I see why he was afraid." Public sentiment shifted instantly. Protests began outside major media offices demanding an official inquiry. Former allies distanced themselves from Erika. Even news outlets that once defended her started asking questions, but Erika herself remained silent. No statements, no interviews, just the occasional glimpse through tinted car windows, her face a ghost of the woman people once admired. Behind closed doors, insiders said she was preparing for something, not to defend herself, but to reveal her own version of the truth. And just when it seemed the story couldn't go any deeper, Candace received one final delivery. A plain brown envelope, no return address, postmarked from Phoenix, the same city where Charlie had filmed his last podcast. Inside, a single USB, no note, no name, just a label scratched into the plastic. Echo Final. Candace stared at it for a long time before saying a word. "He left this for us," she whispered to her team. "Now we find out why he died." The air felt heavy that night. Screens across the world waited. The truth was closer than ever, and so was the danger. Because in the world Charlie tried to expose, truth isn't just inconvenient, it's fatal. Candace Owens didn't open the drive right away. She waited until the cameras were off, the room silent, and the crew gone. Only a small desk lamp lit the space as she slid the USB into her laptop. The screen flickered once, twice, then loaded a folder named Echo Final. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a window appeared, a single video file titled, "If You're Watching This, I Didn't Make It." Her hand froze over the keyboard. When she pressed play, the familiar face appeared. Charlie Kirk sat in a dimly lit office, eyes tired but steady. Papers covered the desk behind him, and a digital clock in the corner read 3:30, 7 a.m. He spoke calmly, each word heavy with intent. "If you're watching this," he began, "it means what I feared finally happened. I tried to warn them. I tried to keep her out of it, but the walls closed faster than I expected." He paused, glancing off camera as if someone was standing nearby. "Erika," he said softly, "I never wanted you involved, but when you told them about the files, you left me no choice." His voice cracked slightly before continuing. "They promised you safety, but there's no safety in silence. You know that now." Candace covered her mouth, eyes wide. The video played on. Charlie reached for a stack of papers and held them up. "This is everything," he said. "Donations, off-record deals, the proof of how deep this goes. They told me I was crazy. They said exposing this would destroy lives. Maybe it will, but it's not about them anymore, it's about truth." The footage cut to static for a moment, then returned. Charlie leaned closer to the camera. "If this gets out, they'll go after anyone connected. Protect the evidence. Don't trust statements. And if Erika tries to spin the story, remember, she wasn't the only one in the room." The file ended abruptly. No signature, no goodbye, just silence. Candace sat still for nearly a minute before whispering, "He knew." Within 24 hours, snippets from that video leaked online. Viewers dissected every frame, every flicker in his eyes. They noticed the reflection of another figure in the glass cabinet behind him, a faint outline of someone standing just out of focus. Theories exploded. Some claimed it was Erika. Others said it was one of the associates Charlie had been investigating. Whatever the truth, that reflection became the symbol of everything unsaid. By then, Erika could no longer hide. She released a pre-recorded interview through her media team, sitting in what appeared to be her living room, wearing black, eyes swollen from tears. Her voice trembled as she said, "I loved my husband. I still do. But he was sick, paranoid, overworked, obsessed with conspiracies that didn't exist. Candace is exploiting his memory." But when the interviewer asked about the drive, about the emails, the recordings, and the reflection in the video, Erika hesitated. Her answer was a whisper, "I don't remember that night." That single line ignited a storm. Social media divided overnight. Half believed her grief, half called it performance. Analysts pointed out inconsistencies, how she claimed to have been out of town that evening. Yet location data from her phone placed her near Charlie's office at 4 a.m., the same time stamped on the video. Candace returned to air once more, holding nothing back. "This isn't about clicks," she said. "It's about a man who tried to tell the truth and was silenced by the people closest to him." She then played the last undisclosed audio clip from the drive. Charlie's voice again, weaker this time. "If I disappear," he said, "it won't be an accident. Tell Candace to follow the money." Following the money led to a shell foundation registered under Erika's name, one that had received transfers from multiple high-profile donors in the weeks before Charlie's death. Every transaction marked as consulting fees. None of them had a clear purpose. When confronted, Erika's team called it a routine financial process. But the explanation only deepened the suspicion. As days passed, journalists began connecting the dots Charlie had left behind. A network of influencers, corporations, and undisclosed financiers who had quietly coordinated media narratives for years. The same circle that Charlie's notes referred to as the architecture. Each discovery confirmed one thing: he wasn't paranoid. He was right. Candace's broadcasts reached millions. She became both hero and target. Anonymous messages flooded her inbox again, some threatening, others begging her to stop before it was too late. But she didn't stop. "Charlie didn't die for silence," she said on her final stream. "He died for exposure." And then something unexpected happened. A clip surfaced online, not from Candace, not from Erika, but from a third, unknown source. It showed surveillance footage from the night Charlie recorded his final video. At exactly 3:35 a.m., Erika's car pulled into the parking lot. 2 minutes later, lights in his office turned off, then back on. The footage ended there. No one saw her leave. When questioned again, Erika denied everything, insisting the footage was fabricated. But by then, her credibility had already collapsed. Sponsors withdrew, partners resigned, and the story that began as gossip became a full-blown scandal. Meanwhile, Candace handed the complete drive to investigators, ensuring multiple copies existed across secure servers. "If they erase one," she said, "another survives." It was her way of finishing what Charlie started, making sure truth couldn't die twice. Weeks later, authorities reopened the case, citing new evidence suggesting potential foul play. Candace didn't celebrate. Instead, she stood outside the courthouse, speaking softly to reporters. "I didn't do this to destroy anyone," she said. "I did it because Charlie believed in honesty more than comfort. And now, the world deserves to hear him." Erika vanished from public view soon after. Some said she left the country. Others claimed she entered treatment for exhaustion. But her absence spoke louder than any statement. In the months that followed, pieces of the Echo Drive continued to surface. Each fragment exposed another layer of deceit: contracts, recordings, private messages that linked powerful names to the story Charlie died trying to tell. And as the dust began to settle, one truth remained unshakable. Charlie Kirk's voice, though silenced, had echoed farther than anyone could have imagined. Candace ended her final appearance with a single line that now lives across every platform, etched into memory like prophecy. "They tried to bury the truth," she said, "but they forgot truth has roots."